What if I told you that the ocean is full of creatures that can completely change their appearance in seconds? Scientists tell us we've only explored about 5% of our seas. That means 95% remains a complete mystery. Well, welcome to the 95%, where we dive into everything the world hasn't figured out yet. Today we're exploring 12 mythical shape-shifting sea creatures that might not be so mythical after all. From ancient Greek prophets who could become anything they touched, to modern sightings of horse-headed monsters in Scottish lochs, these legends all share one terrifying trait: the ability to be anything except what they appear to be. Trust me, after learning about real shape-shifting abilities in today's ocean life, you'll never look at these myths the same way. Starting at number 12, we encounter Proteus, the ancient Greek old man of the sea. According to mythology, this prophetic deity could transform into literally anything: animals, plants, fire, water, even abstract concepts. When someone tried to capture him for his knowledge of the future, Proteus would cycle through endless forms to escape. The hero Menelaus had to hold on to him through every transformation until the god finally gave up and revealed the truth. Here's where it gets interesting. The real ocean is packed with shapeshifters that would make Proteus jealous. Take the mimic octopus, discovered only in 1998. This incredible animal can impersonate over 15 different species: flatfish, lionfish, stingrays, even sea snakes. It doesn't just change color, it changes its entire body posture, swimming style, and behavior to perfectly match its disguise. But that's just the beginning. Cuttlefish can create moving patterns across their skin that hypnotize prey, essentially shape-shifting reality itself around their victims. When ancient Greek sailors encountered these masters of disguise, especially larger species that have since gone extinct, they might have genuinely witnessed a creature that could become anything before their eyes. At number 11, we dive into Koi from Mapuche mythology in Chile. This primordial water serpent was locked in eternal battle with an earth serpent, their conflict supposedly creating Chile's dramatic coastline of fjords and islands. Koi could flood entire regions and shapeshift between serpent and water itself, becoming the very ocean that threatened the land. The fascinating thing about this myth is how accurately it describes Chile's geological reality. The country sits on one of the world's most active tectonic zones, where underwater earthquakes regularly trigger massive tsunamis. But here's what's really wild. Chile's coast is home to some of the largest marine animals on Earth. Blue whales reaching 100 feet in length migrate through these waters, and when they surface, they can look exactly like massive sea serpents. Even more intriguing are the deep sea creatures that occasionally surface during earthquakes or volcanic activity. Giant tube worms, normally hidden in ocean trenches, can reach 8 feet in length. When tectonic activity brings them to the surface, they'd look like shape-shifting serpents emerging from the depths to flood the land. Number 10 brings us to the fin folk from Scotland's Orkney and Shetland Islands. These weren't your typical mermaids. They were described as master shapeshifters who could appear human on land, then transform into seals or fish to escape back to their underwater kingdom, Finn Folkahim. They'd kidnap humans to take as spouses, and male finfolk could control storms and sink ships. The connection to real marine life is obvious once you know about selkies. But the finfolk might represent something even more specific. The waters around Scotland are home to several species of seals that display remarkably human-like behavior. Grey seals, in particular, are incredibly intelligent and curious about humans. They'll follow boats for miles, pop their heads above water to observe people, and their faces are strikingly human-like, especially when wet. But here's what's really compelling. Seals are among the most skilled shapeshifters in the ocean. They can compress their bodies to squeeze through impossibly small spaces, hold their breath for up to 2 hours, and move with completely different swimming styles depending on their needs. When you add in the fact that seal colonies can coordinate complex behaviors, and that some seals have been observed using tools, the finfolk legend starts looking less like fantasy and more like accurate observation of real marine intelligence. At number 9, we encounter the blue men of the Minch, eerie sea spirits from Scottish waters who would challenge ship captains to riddle contests. These blue-skinned mermen were harbingers of storms, and if you couldn't match their wordplay, your ship was doomed. They'd swim alongside vessels before calling out cryptic rhymes, testing the wit of sailors brave enough to answer. The Minch is one of the most dangerous waterways in Britain, with unpredictable currents and sudden storms. But it's also home to several species that could inspire these legends. Pilot whales, which can reach 20 feet in length, are highly intelligent and travel in tight social groups. They're known for their complex vocalizations, essentially their own language of clicks, whistles, and calls. When pods of pilot whales surface near ships, they often seem to be talking to each other and watching the vessel. Their dark coloring and the way they move in coordinated groups could easily be interpreted as blue-skinned mermen communicating in an alien tongue. Even more intriguingly, recent research shows that different pilot whale pods have distinct dialects. They literally speak different languages, just like the riddle-speaking blue men. Number 8 introduces the Uisge, Scotland's water horse. Unlike the more familiar kelpie, this creature was said to dwell in sea lochs and could shapeshift between a magnificent horse and a handsome man. Anyone who mounted the horse would find their skin fused to its hide before being dragged underwater and devoured, with only the victim's liver floating back to shore. The Uisge legend might be based on encounters with one of the ocean's most perfect predators, the leopard seal. These Antarctic seals can reach 12 feet and weigh 1,300 pounds, but they're incredibly agile both in water and on ice. They're also one of the few seals that actively hunt warm-blooded prey, including other seals and even small whales. Here's what's terrifying. Leopard seals have been observed playing with their prey before killing it, much like cats. They'll grab a penguin and shake it violently, stunning it before the final attack. Their jaws are massive, designed to crush bones, and they're known for their eerie vocalizations underwater. While leopard seals don't typically range as far north as Scotland, climate change and historical warm periods could have brought them into those waters. A 12-foot leopard seal with its spotted coat and horse-like head surfacing in a Scottish loch would be absolutely terrifying. Taking the number 7 spot is Atargatis, one of the earliest known mermaid goddesses from ancient Syria. According to legend, she accidentally killed her human lover and, overcome with grief, threw herself into a lake. Instead of dying, she was transformed into a half-fish being, retaining her divine beauty while gaining aquatic powers. This transformation myth influenced mermaid legends throughout the Mediterranean. Atargatis might represent cultural memory of encounters with dugongs or manatees in the eastern Mediterranean. These marine mammals can reach 10 feet in length and weigh over 1,000 pounds. When they surface to breathe, their behavior is remarkably human-like. They'll cradle their young, show curiosity about boats, and even seem to mourn their dead. But here's what's really fascinating. Both dugongs and manatees are shapeshifters in their own right. They can completely change their body profile by inflating or deflating air sacs, making them appear larger or smaller as needed. Underwater, they move with an undulating motion that's almost serpentine, but at the surface, they hold themselves upright like humans. Ancient peoples encountering these gentle giants, especially in the emotional context of grief or loss, could easily interpret them as transformed humans. At number 6, we meet the Wiiwin from Mosquito traditions in Central America. This predatory water spirit was described as a giant serpent or eel that could shapeshift into human or animal forms to lure victims close before dragging them underwater. The Wiiwin was particularly feared in rivers and lagoons, where it would punish those who disrespected the natural world. The Central American coast is home to some of the most remarkable shapeshifters in the ocean. The Caribbean reef octopus can change not just its color, but its skin texture, creating perfect camouflage against coral, sand, or rocks. But the real Wiiwin might be the green moray eel, which can reach 8 feet in length and has an almost supernatural ability to appear and disappear. These eels can compress their muscular bodies to hide in impossibly small crevices, then explode out to grab prey. They also have a second set of jaws, pharyngeal jaws, that shoot forward to drag prey down their throats, exactly like the Wiiwin was said to drag people underwater. Even more unsettling, green morays can survive out of water for short periods, allowing them to hunt in tidal pools and shallow areas where humans might walk. Number 5 brings us Lasirvèn from Haitian Vodou, a mermaid spirit associated with wealth, beauty, and transformation. She appears as a gorgeous woman with a fishtail carrying a mirror and comb, but she can also manifest as pure spiritual energy, possessing devotees during rituals. Lasirvèn grants artistic talents and mystical insights, but she can also draw people into the depths, both literally and spiritually. Haiti sits in the Caribbean's deepest waters, home to creatures that seem to exist between the physical and spiritual worlds. Bioluminescent plankton create underwater light shows that look like pure spiritual energy. Deep-sea jellyfish pulse with otherworldly beauty as they drift through the water column. But the real inspiration for Lasirvèn might be the Caribbean's population of bottlenose dolphins. These incredibly intelligent mammals have been observed using tools, teaching complex behaviors to their young, and even creating signature whistles, essentially personal names. They show what appears to be genuine artistic creativity, playing with seaweed, bubbles, and objects for no survival purpose. When dolphins surface near boats, they often seem to be performing, almost as if they're channeling some kind of creative spirit. At number 4, we encounter Yara, the Amazonian water spirit known as the Lady of the Water. This shape-shifting mermaid could appear as a beautiful woman with flowing hair, luring men with her enchanting voice before dragging them into rivers and waterfalls. According to legend, she was once a mortal warrior who was transformed after killing her jealous brothers in self-defense. The Amazon River system is home to some of the world's most extraordinary aquatic life. Pink river dolphins, which can reach 8 feet in length, are incredibly intelligent and have been observed displaying almost human-like emotions. They're also shapeshifters in their own right. Their flexible necks allow them to turn their heads nearly 180 degrees, and they can change their body posture dramatically when hunting or playing. But the real Yara might be the Amazonian manatee. These gentle giants can hold themselves vertically in the water, and when they surface with water streaming from their hair-like whiskers, they look remarkably like long-haired women. They produce haunting vocalizations, clicks, whistles, and calls that echo through the water like songs. Recent research has shown that manatees have complex emotional lives and strong family bonds, adding to their human-like qualities. Taking the number 3 spot is the Tikbalang, a creature from Philippine folklore usually associated with forests, but sometimes described as dwelling near rivers and swamps. This shapeshifter appears as a tall humanoid with a horse's head and hooves, confusing travelers and causing them to lose their way in waterways. Some traditions describe it deliberately drowning people who disrespect water spirits. The Philippines' complex river systems and mangrove swamps are home to creatures that could inspire these legends. Saltwater crocodiles, which can reach 23 feet in length, are master shapeshifters. They can remain motionless for hours, perfectly camouflaged, then explode into action with terrifying speed. But the real connection might be to the region's population of wild water buffalo. These massive animals, with their distinctive horned heads and powerful bodies, often wade through rivers and swamps. When seen partially submerged or in poor visibility, a water buffalo could easily be mistaken for some kind of horse-human hybrid. They're also incredibly intelligent and have been observed using deception, leading predators away from their young by pretending to be injured or confused. Number 2 features the Aswang, one of the most feared shapeshifters in Philippine folklore. While usually described as a land-dwelling predator, some regional variations place aswangs in coastal waters and river systems, where they take the forms of eels, crocodiles, or large fish before emerging at night to hunt. These water aswangs were blamed for drownings and mysterious disappearances in fishing villages. The coastal waters of the Philippines host some of the ocean's most skilled shapeshifters. The wonderpus octopus, discovered only in 2006, can mimic multiple species simultaneously, showing flat fish patterns on one side of its body while displaying lionfish spines on the other. But the real Aswang might be inspired by the region's population of giant Pacific octopuses. These incredible creatures can reach 30 feet across and weigh over 600 pounds. They're escape artists capable of squeezing through any opening larger than their beak, and they're tool users with problem-solving abilities that rival some vertebrates. Most unsettling of all, they're nocturnal hunters that can change not just their color and texture, but their entire body shape, allowing them to impersonate rocks, coral, or other sea creatures perfectly. And finally, at number 1, we have Melusine, the medieval European water spirit whose shape-shifting abilities and tragic love story became one of the most influential legends in Western folklore. According to the myth, Melusine was cursed to transform into a serpent or fish from the waist down every Saturday. She married Raymond of Lusignan under the condition that he would never spy on her during her transformation day, bringing him incredible wealth and prosperity while hiding her true nature. What makes Melusine's story so compelling is how it perfectly captures the dual nature of water itself. Like the ocean, she was both nurturing and mysterious, bringing abundance to those who respected her boundaries while becoming dangerous when those boundaries were violated. Her weekly transformation suggests an understanding of tidal cycles, and her connection to springs and rivers shows how medieval peoples saw all water as connected. But here's what's really fascinating about Melusine. She might represent cultural memory of encounters with European eels. These extraordinary creatures undergo one of the most dramatic transformations in the animal kingdom. European eels spend most of their lives in freshwater rivers and lakes, appearing as normal fish. But when it's time to reproduce, they undergo a complete metamorphosis. Their bodies become silver, their eyes enlarge, and they develop the ability to navigate thousands of miles of ocean to reach their spawning grounds in the Sargasso Sea. Even more remarkable, eels can survive out of water for hours, allowing them to cross land between water bodies. Medieval peoples would have encountered these shape-shifting creatures regularly, seeing them transform from familiar river fish into mysterious silver beings that could travel on land. The eel's life cycle was so poorly understood that until the 20th century, nobody knew where European eels reproduced. They simply vanished from rivers and returned transformed. Melusine's Saturday transformations mirror the eel's mysterious life cycle, and her connection to prosperity reflects the eel's importance as a food source. Her serpentine lower body perfectly matches the eel's elongated form, and her ability to bring wealth while remaining partially hidden reflects how eels were valuable but elusive creatures. And there you have it, 12 shape-shifting sea creatures that might not be myths after all, from octopuses that can become anything to whales that seem to speak in riddles. The ocean is full of shapeshifters that could easily inspire the legends we've heard for thousands of years. The line between mythology and marine biology is thinner than we ever imagined. And in that unexplored 95% of our oceans, who knows what other shapeshifters are waiting to be discovered? Which of these legendary creatures do you think has the strongest connection to real marine life? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and if these connections between myth and reality blew your mind, subscribe for more deep dives into the mysteries hiding beneath the waves, and thank you for exploring the 95% with us today.